Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Blitz Podcast, or we could call it the Bricked Up Blitz Podcast. I'm Wayne, and Lem is still here from Greece.
Hello.
Today, Lem, we have two very, very special guests. And as you heard just now, we have two special guests. I'll go ahead and start the first introduction. A long time vet, long time Mount Rushmore icon figure, the visionary, the one and only Jeff. Jeff,
Yo, 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 yo.
Oh
how's your day
no.
going, Jeff?
Oh, having fun, man. Can't wait. Been waiting to get on this podcast, dude. Glad to be a guest.
Yeah, for sure. We're excited to have you. And Lem, want to share who our second guest is?
So our second guest today is the season 2 rookie of the year, MA, of the Huevos Picantes. Welcome to the Blitz podcast.
Yo, what's up? I'm super excited to be here. It honestly feels like an honor because I feel like this podcast, there's probably a lot of people who want to get on here and give some of their spicy takes, kind of have one-way communication so no one can talk back. So it's pretty awesome to be here.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome, MA, and we're excited to have you. Usually, we don't just jump into things like this. However, because you, as Len mentioned, you are the season two rookie of the year, want to give us your acceptance speech?
Yeah, okay. So I knew I was going to be up for rookie of the year because there was only like a pool of like 3 or 5 um, rookies, right? I it's I kind of wasn't expecting to be up against Blue Squid in the final round. I actually thought it was going to be Intox because I thought he was really coming up and making a campaign for himself. Um, but I think like out of all the rookies, like I think everyone had a really good argument. And maybe some of the things that it came down to was like previous play experience and maybe just like how many games they got in the season. Um, so yeah, I guess in terms of acceptance speech, I'm definitely really honored. I am sad that unfortunately we couldn't make it to the Super Bowl. I actually, I would trade Rookie of the Year in a year to get a chance to go to the Super Bowl, but it's a nice consolation prize. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome, and I think it was very well deserved. Whether you went up against Blue Squid or Intox, I think you were likely the fan favorite for the season Rookie of the Year, and I think we only are hopeful to see what comes out next season, as you continue to learn and get more experiences under your belt. Switching over to you, Jeff. This is not to add salt to the wound or whatnot, but I know that you were very confident slash hopeful for maybe the season two captain of the year. It was a very close race, so it's not like you lost unanimously or whatnot. But how did that feel to see Ducks become the captain of the year?
Yeah, I mean, congrats to him, but it's very confusing. I didn't even get the draft. I got thrown an unbelievable shitty bone and then had to try to forgiving me CJ. That was the best thing that happened to us all year. Dan finally decided to come back. Kite stepped up big time. Tony was begging me to give him Kite, but I had to take him because you know what? Good captains stand on firm ground. So I think just with scheduling, communication, building a team out of nothing, and kind of working with the tools and being resourceful, I think it's clear. But apparently, there is a majority of the 15 voters that thought that Ducks was a better captain. And the truth is, if you do look at it from a perspective of the NFL, when you do put a winner on the field, clearly, you could be you're a coach of the year when you're fielding a winner. We weren't fielding a winning team. We just had a lot of challenges that we had to overcome. So it's two ways to think about it. But then again, when you think about it, who won the what is it? Was it offensive player of the year was Wick, and he they went 0-7. So there's no consistency really on did wins matter, did wins not matter. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I think the one thing that we all maybe sometimes forget and don't want to think about it is some of these awards, and also the nature of our fun league is it's going to be a popularity vote at the end of the day. So it may not be a true indication or whatnot, but the community speaks for itself. Um, yeah, I'm excited to see what happens next season. But before we do that, we had some incredible playoff games, the semifinals. Lem, um, you take your pick on which one, or maybe both, you want to talk about. Would you like to share your thoughts on how the semifinal games went?
So I unfortunately didn't get to watch all of the Spiders Fins World game. I just watched a few highlights. Um, I'm still over here and hard to find time to do all that. But um, from what I gathered, the Spiders game seemed to come down to the wire. It looked like Irv still did his mostly efficient drives, um, relatively low scoring, especially compared to the Eggs game. Um, but it just comes down to, I think, volume and opportunities, and that's what Finn's World had. I can speak a little bit more to the Eggs game. Obviously, it was a blowout. Um, Jeff can probably feel this sentiment, or well, the entire Phoenix D, that we didn't really have that much practice together, etc. Didn't have that much film review and all that. Not that we did too much of that in general, but anyway, uh, TTT obviously did their film review. They had their meditation sessions, and maybe that's why they Duxer is captain of the year for helping organize all that. They always have a game plan. They know what they're doing. Prism comes in like a sledgehammer, knows what he wants to do, and executes mostly flawlessly every time. So he had our number dialed, and he was ready to go. Um, so unfortunately, we couldn't make it more competitive. We had some good opportunities, but ultimately couldn't follow through on them. So it just is what it is. But we were happy to get one playoff win and progress to the second round of the playoffs. But wish we could have done a little bit better. I
Yeah.
also wish we got MA to play. That was a lapse on our part.
Yeah, I guess I'll ask you, Lem. During halftime, was there any consideration to sub MA, given that you guys were down? I think at this point, maybe around like 30 points, maybe.
I think you'll have to ask Tony, or someone can ask Tony. I think the rationale was like it's already really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Might as well just kind of get it over and done with.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. I do have one more question for you, Lem, about this game, given that you were the only player here that actually played in that game against Priz and the Toronto Triple Triples. What made it so difficult? And I know this is a team game, it's a team effort. I think where I'm trying to head towards is a couple of weeks ago we talked about the importance of sacks, and when I look back at that game, I do think that you did get a few sacks on Prism, whether it was early to maybe third down to sacks, but they just kept getting those first downs and continually moving the chains. So did you feel that in the game, or did you feel like you were doing your like obviously as good as you could limit his runs during that game? Like what made it so difficult that particular day while blitzing Prism?
Um, so for the most part, I think I was able to contain Prism. Got a few sacks and got a couple short runs, or at least limiting the long runs. And I think it was mostly the overall defensive game plan. Like we didn't have that much practice together. Like Smith had just come on, Tony had just come on. They were both just driving. Like they just jumped on and they weren't quite ready to go. Um, but that's not really an excuse. But like, we hadn't been practicing all week, and then like you just jump on and play, and it's kind of like rust develops pretty quickly. Um, I mean, I gave up a lot of stuff in the middle. Um, I think like the middle of the game, I was giving up some middle touchdowns or 2 point conversions, and it's one of those classic scenarios. Do I go in for the blitz? Do I go back and cover? And it seemed like every time I was spying for a few seconds, and I'd go to blitz, and right when I go to blitz, they'd throw the middle.
Yeah. Middle is OP.
So, yeah, middle is definitely OP. But yeah, I think a lot of it was like we'd get some contained runs. Um, we would get a couple sacks, and then ultimately we wouldn't be able to close in on some of the sideline throws.
Right. Ma, obviously you were standing by on the bench cheering on your
Yep.
team go at it.
Yep.
How difficult, from your own perspective, obviously, how difficult was it to see your team falling down that hole and it just looked like it was getting worse and worse? And how much did you like? Obviously, those are the OGs and those are that's your starting team. But I'm sure there was probably an inch in you that maybe thought like maybe you could have added some type of impact to the game if you were on the field. Like, did that ever cross your mind? Like you might be able to, if you were in on the field, you might be able to contribute in some ways, and also just like watching your team try their best, but TTT just was on one that night.
Yeah. So I mean, I going into the game, I was on standby, just in case anything happened or anyone couldn't show up, and I was, I was trying to get reps in the night before, and I was doing the catching practice and everything. I always try to do that before the games. Doesn't always work out, but uh, I would say like watching the game, it definitely. I feel like I was definitely on the roller coaster with them, like it, just watching and kind of when it gets into a tough situation, I was definitely kind of like feeling that, and I was thinking it was tough, but I also thought that like, you know, I don't like giving up, in any type of game. They weren't giving up. And if TTT, if they could score 30 points in the first half or whatever it is, I don't see any reason why, we couldn't score another 30, 40 or something in the second half. I mean, maybe it's really low chance, but, I feel like it's always technically possible. And given that, I wanted those three players out on the field. And I even like Tony before the game, like we all discussed kind of like what we want our lineup to be. Um, and I was saying, the whole point of having this team was to basically get in a position like this where we could be in the playoffs and we have our three best players, in Smith, Lim, and Tony. Um, and like that's what I wanted. So I actually wanted them, all three to play, and I wanted them to see it through because I felt like I had done my job. If there's anything that I got Rookie of the Year for, I feel like I was just able to come in and stay ready and do my part when I needed to, so that we could get to this point, where we could have our three best players and a shot at the Super Bowl. So I trust in them. I don't think I wouldn't do anything differently, if we did it over again. Those are the three most capable players.
Yeah, for sure. I think myself and Prism and maybe a few others too, but um, going to the season and even heading into that playoff game, I don't think we changed our mind that I think that the Huevo Picantes has on paper, the best aggregate roster against anybody in the league. But that's just one or two people's opinions. But I stand by that. And yeah, just unfortunate game for you guys. But credit to TTT for not only having a good game plan, but also executing at the highest level. Jeff, you were teammates with Smith last season. You guys, I guess, you know, you guys made it to the playoffs, but it was a tough season last season as well. Were you surprised by how much you saw Smith struggling, even with capable receivers and Lem and Tony? And then on top of that, how impressed were you by the TTT's performance?
I mean, TTT's great, dude. Prism's awesome. Everything just, you know, paper cuts down the field. We used to run Gamble D and man to man a lot versus Prism just because of how diverse his playbook was. He had the overs, the unders, and so you had to make sure that you weren't going to get beat by the RS hitch, oppo roll RS hitch. So it ended up being that man to man was always a good scheme versus him, but he's gotten like even better than he used to be. And then for Smith, I mean, last season was fucking rough. This past, the first one with me, we had many games like the ones that Huevos Picantes just had. Just sack after sack, problems, falling on our face. Um, Prism plays an efficient offensive game, and it puts pressure on your offense to stay at that high octane and good. And Smith likes to go deep, and TTT is just not going to let up that deep. So it was kind of like a perfect storm where two playing styles meshed together in an incomplete way.
Yeah.
Overall, I mean, I think Smith's good. I don't have anything bad to say about it, but uh, our team is supposedly not that good, and we were pretty fucking close to beating Huevos Picantes, minus a Lem amazing defensive player of the year, play. So,
Yep.
we would have probably gotten blown out by TTT as well.
Yeah, I mean, while you guys had your own team struggles, Jeff, I think that Smith, Tony, and Lem, although they didn't get a lot of reps in, I think the synergy is there, maybe different than your teams. But I would agree that you guys played well in that first round, and it could have went both ways, right? And yeah, unfortunately, that semifinal was a little bit lopsided from the after like the second or third drive of the game, but shit happens. That splits, right? Um,
That's Blitz, baby.
that splits, baby. All right, but yeah, congrats to TTT moving on to the Super Bowl, and
And yourself.
a great season for the Huevo Picantes. I'm sure there was a lot of adversities y'all had to overcome this season, but despite it all, you guys were always positive to one another, and made it to the semi. So that in itself. Oh, and also nurturing the young prodigy in MA to where he's at now. So, and also you guys won a lot of awards, by the way.
Yeah, we stacked them up. We stacked them up, and there's there's the Shadow Award for Captain of the Year going to Tony. Not to take away from Tuxer's great Captain of the Year, but there's a lot that Tony was doing that I don't think was visible. So in our minds, he's our Captain of the Year, but obviously Tuxer won Captain of the Year for the league, and it's well deserved. But
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. And I just remember
Yeah,
the
that's bullshit. He
yeah.
drafted like the best roster and then call him a captain of the year. That's so bullshit, dude. He got a draft and he drafted the best. And then we give it to Ducks. Come on.
All
Bro,
right.
did you forget that Smith wasn't there for the entire season?
That's all good, baby. He was there at the beginning. He was there at the end when it mattered.
All right, guys. Let's not fight amongst
And
ourselves here. But I do gotta say
Let's make it spicy, baby.
I do gotta say there's always room for spicy, Jeff. Oh, don't you worry. But for now, I just remembered, and this is my fault. Our very own co-host here, Lem, was Defensive Player of the Year, and
yes, sir.
last season he was runner-up. Okay, and he was very close, and to many people's eyes. And I do think Lem, I could be wrong, but I think it was a close voting, even though Turkey may have won. I might be wrong, but anyways, you were, in my opinion, anyways, probably the runner-up for that Defensive Player of the Year last season. So now that you actually won it this season, do you have a acceptance speech here for us?
Uh, I think my uh, I think my stats speak for themselves from last season and this season. Whether I'm covering or blitzing, I will be a force to be reckoned with. Um, I might give up some things once in a while, but I will fairly frequently change the tide of a game. Um, so I think I will have dominant defensive play for seasons to come, and I look forward to playing against all of you.
That's right. I think he made you
Nope.
proud. He made
When
you
can,
proud, Jeff. Team D. He was
yeah,
representing Team D.
hell yeah, Team D, dude. Now this is, dude, is there a topic that I could bring up? Auto clicking, bro, because I want to bring that up.
You can, Jeff, but let's do that in a second. Before we get into those topics, if you want, let's finish this off with your both your thoughts, Ma, and your thoughts, Jeff, because Lemon kind of already shared that he didn't really get to watch the full game between Finn's World and Flying Spiders. So let's start with you, Jeff, this time. Um, if you watched the game, what did you think of that game? And yeah, any insights you had, or were you surprised at the outcome? Were you surprised that Finn's World won, or that Flying Spiders were that close to making it to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I think it was pretty cool. So Finn's World was driving really good. Irvine was driving really good. It seemed like Portis is a really good player, but obviously on defense, everyone says he plays really good. He's not as good as he seems on defense, and Finn really took advantage of that. And then number two, on offense, Irvine is a phenomenal player. There's a That last drive in my head, I was saying to myself, just slow it down, bring it home, don't make the crucial mistake. And then I think it was like two plays later, the train came off the track. Finn goes down, um, you know, just absolutely wins, solidifies, wins the game. And it just comes down to one mistake sometimes, as we've seen, in the playoffs here.
Yeah, I do agree. It's just like it has always been. Whoever makes the least of mistakes or who could get the most crucial stop when the game matters will really define the game. I think what makes it more interesting for this version of Blitz, anyways, is because we have after halftime, the team that didn't start the ball gets the ball. So game management really comes into importance. It's very important who starts the ball in the
For
second half.
sure. And let's call it what it is, dude. Mouton and Irvine have better chemistry than Turkey and Irvine. Turkey is a great defensive player and a great offensive player, but the synergy is between Mouton and Irvine, and you could see that on the field that Mouton really brought that team together.
Yeah, it's a good take. I don't necessarily disagree with that. I think it still comes down to the play calls and which receiver Irv is trying to design plays for. I think during that game, anyways. The stats may not show it, but I don't think you'll see many plays where Turkey's also making mistakes. But you're not wrong about the chemistry and the synergy that we've seen Mutan show up in the second half of the season. But switching over to MA, your thoughts. What were your thoughts on the game, and specifically, what did you think about your fellow rookies in Squid and Intox's performance?
They're incredible. I can't believe they can go out there and they're just performing at that high of a level, on the ready, and they're switching off too. Um, I would say watching the game, uh, it didn't. So like the score was pretty close, and for most of the game, the score was pretty close, and the overall
Hmm.
score is pretty close. But I would say that just based on like my vibes from it, it didn't feel like Finn's World was under like actually getting under any sort of like pressure. I felt like they were still kind of going at a good steady tempo, um, and I feel like they kind of maintained control of the game. So I guess I'm surprised by like how close the score was a little bit. So I was actually wondering for you, Wayne, like kind of like two-part of the question, two parts. How do you guys feel how close that game was? Like, were you guys starting to feel a little bit of pressure? Like, were you guys like, oh, we got to tighten up on some of these, misplays or anything? And then also based on that, it's pretty wild that you guys, I'm sure you were sticking to the game plan, but switching out Squid after he was, playing so great and the game was close, and then switching to Intox. It's a bold move still. So yeah, what do you think about that?
Yeah, those are two great questions. I'll start with your first one, pressure. I think Lem could attest to this, not being the QB and playing a more receiver role. I don't necessarily have to think about the plays. I may share my thoughts every now and then, but for the most part, this is Finn's world, quote unquote. And he's my QB.
That's
He's
right.
he's gonna make the decision. So I fully trust or will rock with whatever Finn decides. I'm not the type of receiver that likes to uh, micromanage or like call plays for them unless they ask for it. So I know Finn's confident in his own ability, so I let him cook up whatever he wants to, and then we rock with
Okay.
whatever happens. So um, yeah, I didn't feel any pressure. I just knew that um, I had full trust in Finn that he could do whatever. But I'm not gonna lie to you, there were times and plays that happened during the game where I'm like, that was a bad decision or bad timing of a throw, or even like stop dancing around with the blitzer. You're gonna get sacked. As we've
Right.
seen. But for the most part, yeah, I didn't feel no pressure. We were always confident. And even whenever I think there was one point when I guess late in the game when they did have uh, the Flying Spurs had the full control of the game. If they score a touchdown, they get the lead, right? And they control the clock here. I wouldn't say I was
Okay.
ever. I'd never lost confidence in any of those times. I think it was just reminding our team that we just get one stop and we'll seal the deal. And I don't know how many of you guys feel this. I think Jeff would. I'm a player because of how long I played. I'm a player that prefers to win on defense than offense, anyways. I think those games are the most thrilling. I think that it puts us in a more challenging scenario, and I love those challenges to come up with the stop to win the game. I don't. We could score, we could go blow for blow, but I care more about getting those defensive stops than getting the touchdowns. So we did it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just my thoughts there. And then your second part to your question was Squid and Intox. So yeah, Squid played
Yep.
lights out. Those big sacks in the beginning really set the tone, I think, and maybe even like prevented Irv from thinking that he could sneak all the time, right? Because we've seen all season, Irv was sneaking whenever the play was covered, and he'll get the first down. But I wonder if Squid set the tone, saying that you aren't going to sneak on me, and so you're going to have to beat us through play calls, right? And I think that probably what's helped Finn and I play in coverage after that. Now the decision to
Wow.
what's up?
Oh no, that's awesome on Squid's part. Yeah.
Yeah,
Setting that tone.
and then the second part, subbing him out. I we found out afterwards that Squid would have preferred to play the second half because of the tie game at that moment. However,
Right.
Finn and I don't really think about this. I think we, at this point of the season, we did this all season long, and so I think we would prefer everybody to just get some playtime and have some fun. Whether we win or lose, we don't take it to heart. Yes, we are playing to win, but I think Finn and I are confident that we'll be able to win with either Squid or Intox in the lineup. So that didn't cross our minds, but I could totally understand from both their perspectives that they wanted to play the full game.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I can. It must be hard to like come into a game, especially for Intox. I feel like coming into that tight game, and seeing that performance by Squid. So I mean, props, to Intox for kind of coming in and then locking it down, because you're coming in cold at the half, right? And so uh, that's pretty cool on their parts.
Yeah, and so
And then yeah,
Neither of them really matter though, because neither of them are rookies of the year. So
that's right. That
there you
there's
go.
only one prodigy apparently now. Um, Lem, let's finish this game off with. I know you didn't. You said you didn't get to watch the game. I just wanted to share with you that at one point during this game, in the first half, maybe the first or second drive of the game, Flying Spiders, Squids consecutively sacked Irv back to the 40, right? Fourth and I don't know 20 and above. Irv decides to go for it on fourth down on the 40. Sorry, I guess no, sorry, his 60, so it's within the field goal range, right? Um, he decides not to and did a jump ball with for against Finn 2v1. had he kicked that field goal, that last drive of the game could have been totally different, and they could have just settled for the field goal if they really wanted to, and put them up
Yeah.
in that game, or at least very much tied it, right? So you being the trendsetter from last season, kicking as many field goals as you did last season, are you surprised to hear that a team didn't kick a field goal on fourth and whatever long it was?
Yeah, I think so. I probably took too many field goals last season, but then on the flip side, I think a lot of teams didn't kick enough field goals for this season. Case in point, our eggs game against Irv, where we had like 5 opportunities to kick field goals, and had we made like 2 of them, we would have tied. Or no, if we made 2 of them, we would have won. If we made 1 of them, we would have tied. If we made like whatever, we could have like won with more field goals. I think other teams have had similar scenarios where they could have kicked field goals and been in better positions for like the last drive of the game. Yeah, I think in a tight scenario, I think you gotta go for more field goals, especially on fourth and forever.
Right. And I agree. I think that there's definitely a time and place for the field goal, and I think they are more effective than some have considered them. But I 100% agree. Field goal is a strat and a valuable tactic if you're trying to go for the win, especially in a league game where you never know what will happen down the wire. Um, so that was the Finn's World versus Flying Spiders. Great season, Flying Spiders. Really was an exciting game, and um, yeah, it could have been anyone's game. Yeah, we were just very fortunate to be moving on. So yeah, great season, Irv. Great season, Spiders. See you guys next season. Um, Jeff, I know you've been patiently waiting to ask your spicy questions. We just got one more topic to go through, and then the floor is both yours, Lem's, and MA's. We got to talk about the Super Bowl predictions, right? So,
Uh,
Finn's World versus the TTT. Specifically, this will be Prism versus myself, and what feels like every finals we've had so far in every major tournament, anyways. It's another battle between us two. What's your thoughts about this game, and then specifically on the QB matchup between Finn and Priz?
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. It is definitely, rematch city over here. Finn obviously went after you, and you guys, hey, I got spicy takes, bro. You guys were able to replace Turkey like it was nothing, dude. And then for TTT, I mean, just Prism is obviously a robot. And then Ocho is like sneaky, not defensive player of the year, but dude, he's top 4 defensive player of the year, I think. I mean, he is like playing out of his mind on defense. So it's gonna be a fun ride. I don't know what's gonna happen because the play styles mesh so differently with tempo to precision to reads. I mean, these are 2 wildly different teams doing it in 2 different styles. So it's going to be fun to watch. I mean, I'm going to be tuning in.
Um, so yeah, I think this will be an interesting match, only from the analogy of we got a we got a race car versus a very strategic or efficient motor in the TTT. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Maybe our race car breaks down in the finals,
uh,
but
uh,
but we'll see. But Jeff, I'm not gonna let you off the hook just like that. I want you to predict who you think is gonna win this game for us.
Oh, TTT for sure, bro, without a doubt. You're not going to be able to stop him. Finn's World is good, but Finn's got 1 season under his belt as QB. He's basically coming in as a rookie QB. He's taken some lumps. He's turned over the ball occasionally. He's he dances with the ball, and Duxer is no joke as a blitzer. I mean, top 2 blitzer in the league. Um, right behind Lem, you can't dance. And Ocho's, he's playing 1 level behind Lem as well. uncover. I mean, he's that good. And then Prism's just a guy that, I mean, he's going to be a security blanket. He's not going to let anything get past him. I think you're going to have to somehow, I don't know how, I just don't see Finn's World beating TTT at all. I would say, if I had to guess prediction, 40-20.
There it
Ooh.
is. There it is.
Wow.
I can't wait because our first loss was against Cutler, our second loss was against Ocho, and let's make it a trifecta, baby. Let's get Prism to keep kicking our ass. Uh, all right, Lem. I have to ask you now. This because you're the blitzer here, guy. What's your key take not takeaways, but what are the key things that both blitzers need to do? So Ducks against Finn, and then for us, Squid and Intox versus Prism. Like, what do you think each from each team's perspective? What do you think each blitzer's got to do to make an impact on on this game?
So it's kind of hard to come from my perspective on Blitz because I think I don't really analyze like what one needs to do against a specific QB. I think I have a more instinctual methodology when I blitz, but like when the blitzer, I think Jeff has alluded to this, when the blitzer is going against Finn, he does dance a lot. It gives you an opportunity to get close to him, and half the time Finn can like run into you. Um, so I think it's about for Finn, it's about or when blitzing Finn, it's about just staying close while he's dancing and then reacting fast enough to whichever way he ends up bouncing out of that dance. Um, and against Finn, there's also an opportunity. Um, he does like to do a couple icons here and there. um, if there's a person that's short and you're able to split the distance, um, you can bounce off of his dance and then go to spy really quick, and you should still have enough room to contain him if he scrambles. Prism, on the other hand, I would say he's kind of similar to Irv in the sense of serious games. He's going to take the opportunity to sneak if it's there. Um, he'll notice what type of blitzing style you're doing. If you're gonna cheat a little bit with a dive, he'll do like a one directional roll. Um, so it's more important for Prism to keep your spacing appropriate so that whether you can stop the one directional roll for like a either like a 1 yard sack or a very minimal gain, or be ready for the click back to cut him off if he tries to juke back. So it's just going to be a matter of if you can manage those things respectively with Finn and Prism.
Yeah, and one more thing. I mean, don't even blitz Prism. Just run Haxty all game. Blue Squid's not going to even sniff his butt, dude.
Well then. You heard that, Squid? No sniffing anyone's butt this Sunday. Um,
Yeah.
Prism is sackable. I mean, it is a possible thing to do, but Jeff just wants to run hacks against him.
Jeff wants to run all defenses against anyone. But
True.
Lem, again, not gonna let you off the hook. Who do you have for the Super Bowl game?
So I think I'm unfortunately leaning towards TTT. They trounced us, and it's sad to see, and like it's sad to think that your opponent is gonna win the Super Bowl, but they have been playing great all season. They legitimately do like film practice like crazy. So I think it's gonna come down to who can do the best film practice. So if you want to beat them, you have to do as much film practice as them, and that's hard to do. The other thing that's I think semi-legitimate. We've talked about this on and off in different podcasts. I think in general they just play more blitz, so they're going to have more synergy and chemistry, um, and in general like less rust. If Finn ever gets off Valorant, he might be able to practice a little bit more. Um,
No shot.
but I think I think it's basically like TTT. They do film review, they play more, they play together more, um, and so I think all those little things stack up, and they're just going to give them the edge. I don't think it's going to be a 40-20 thing like Jeff said, but I think it's probably going to be within one score, maybe 10 points for favoring TTT.
All right. And my only note, and totally respect your thoughts here. The only thing I have to say is you said that the TTT do unbelievable film review and hours of footage. According to Tony and maybe some others, that I actually have the most footage on everybody because I'm always obsing in these games.
Real.
So I think I had those guys beat in terms of film study. Okay. Um, but
You know, that's your opinion, but those are pubs. You know, people aren't really putting out their best in pubs, and they're playing around.
oh, you think they're mind gaming me in the pub games, huh?
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. All right, MA. Last, your last on this prediction list, but specifically,
Yeah.
share your thoughts on the matchup between Ocho, who, as Jeff alluded to, is playing at just a level probably below MVP, which is still very impressive, right? Fourth, I think Jeff called out that Ocho may be the fourth best defender this season. So, what do you think Squid and Intox have to like since they're rookies? Um, how should they prepare for this game, going into this game, and how can they elevate their game to be at least Ocho tier?
Okay, so are you confirming that they're both playing, or is that already confirmed?
I cannot confirm or deny anything because I am not Finn,
Okay,
but I can say that you could safely assume that one they each should get a half.
gotcha. It's been a winning formula for the most part. So yeah. Um, I mean, so Blue Squid and Intox. Honestly, I feel like their last game, that was a tough enough challenge that I think they're definitely um, going to be ready to come in and also to split halves if that's what they're going to be doing. So I think if they can just kind of reproduce that and keep cool and minimize mistakes, they'll be off to a good track. And I'll say that maybe things get a little different. Like, I don't know, it's the Super Bowl, all the lights are on you guys and everything. Um, I think it will be pretty valuable to have yourself, Wayne, and Finn kind of like setting the mood and kind of like, calling out the adjustments. I don't know. I mean, I know you guys kind of like, I guess you just flame each other while you play, but I'm imagining that you guys can kind of get some reads and stuff. And I think it's going to be a huge help to kind of have like good communication on your guys' part. And I think they're both good enough that they could adapt and maybe they don't need to be, Ocho level. But I think when you have, Finn and Wayne kind of pulling the main strings and everything, they just kind of got to get in there and do their part and they should be pretty well off.
Yeah, agreed. But yeah, it's going to be an exciting Super Bowl. Can't wait for this quote unquote redemption game for them and for us to potentially defend both Finn and I's season one title this Sunday. But very much looking forward to this game. It's been an impressive season by the TTT from a observer perspective. They put up 60 points. Oh, sorry, not 60 points. They put up 60 points week one. They put up 52 in the last playoff game, and I think they put up 45 in another game. So um, a high-powered offense, but balanced with great defense. So it's going to be interesting. And sorry, I think I actually missed out. Emma, did you give us your prediction? Like who you think is going to win
Uh,
this game?
oh, no, 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 but I will. I kind of agree with what other people have, Lim and Jeff were saying that I, TTT seems to have really good chemistry. Um, and I'm just not so sure that Finn's World, like, I feel like Finn's World is kind of more about raw talent, whereas TTT is kind of more of like a unit, like with better chemistry. Um, and, I feel like they can I feel like they're going to be very level-headed or be able to kind of control anything that's going on. I don't think anyone on their team is going to like shrink under that pressure. I think they're all going to be bringing their A game, and I think they've been really like battle tested. And if I were to give an analogy, I would kind of call with everything that we've seen this season. I would kind of call TTT kind of like the Looney Tunes, the Toon Squad, where they've had adversity, they've overcome it. They got really good like memes and everything. And then Finn's World is a little bit like the Monstars. Like it's just kind of you guys won last year. You have like the top talent. I would say Finn's World has two of the three best players in that matchup. And so yeah, I think it's a little bit like Looney Tunes versus the Monstars, and I think the Looney Tunes can squeak it out. I think they can squeak it out.
All right. So what you're saying is that Priz is the Michael Jordan of this game.
So I don't know if that will Michael Jordan. Hopefully Michael Jordan will come and help them out. But there's plenty of tunes, and they can all pick one.
I just
Figure out
have,
who covers too.
you know how lately we've been having these blitz memes and stuff like that. So MA, since you're the expert in all Looney Tunes, if Priz is Michael Jordan, who is Dux and who is Ocho?
I mean, yeah, Ocho's Pippin, dude.
Wait, he's not on the Looney Tunes, man.
Um, I'm gonna call Ocho. Who's it? Taz,
Okay,
the Tasmanian Devil.
okay.
Yep. And then I'm gonna call Duxer. He's not quite Bugs, but I'm gonna give it to. Hold on, I can't remember her name at this second.
The girl bunny?
Lola. Is it Lola?
Oh
Yes, the
man.
girl bunny.
Oh man, I was hoping we could Lola.
Well, she's pivotal. She's pivotal.
She's
pivotal for that team.
I was hoping Lola could be Sin or somebody. God damn it.
Oh man.
All right.
Tweety Bird.
All right. So fair enough. Respect your all you guys' predictions. I just have one thing to say and remind you guys that there is only one Benjamin here, and that is me, the $100 guy. And you'll see this Sunday what $100 can do. All right. We are the underdogs, maybe the first time ever that I can remember, but $100 will show up on Sunday. Well, just you guys wait, TTT. Just you guys wait.
Gotcha.
Get him, Wayne. Get him.
I will say, even though everyone has, I'm assuming you think Ben's World is going to win, just for the record, Wayne.
I mean, I'm never one to be not confident. Definitely agree that we'll come out on top. However, am fully aware of how great TTT is. I know that Dux is Finn's counter. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying, um, there's only one $100 player here, and that's going to show you guys what's up and why Finn made the bold move to go all in on me.
It's unfortunate that inflation is so high. $100 just doesn't go as far as it used to.
That's right. All right, so yeah, looking forward to that game, and if whoever wins, it's going. I just think it'll be a great game for the audiences to watch. It should be a great game,
For
and
sure.
if they blow us out by 40 or 60 points, as they've done a few times to other teams this season, I will also be excited to see myself get blown out. So
There you go.
let's hope for a good game, guys.
It's definitely going to be a good game. And also, Wayne, sorry that you're getting ganged up on here and everyone's, putting TTT as the winners. I will say I have a special media release in the works from a good friend of mine.
All right.
And you might be a little more happy with his prediction. And that should be released maybe later tonight.
Awesome, dude. Looking forward to it. And for all you guys that just tuned in, MA is dropping a media piece, and I think we'll all be excited to see what this is because I'm hyped for it. If it's anything like the first one I've seen you do, I'm hyped for it. So yeah, excited. Thanks for sharing that. And also, no offense taken, by the way. You guys could go against us all day. I love the competition. I love to go battle Priz, so and the rest of TTT. And the only difference is I'll be uh, seeing my QB Finn pull the strings this time. So yeah, hopefully he's on his A game, and we'll be just fine.
There you
Um,
go.
all right, Jeff, you've been so patient so far. We're at the 50-minute mark. Time for the spicy topics that you guys wish to bring to the table.
Yeah, I got two, man. One's a big one that I just learned yesterday is the reason that, Smith's hitting 500 APM consistently and some of these other guys are hitting 450, 500 every game is that there's something called binding your key to your mouse. And you can auto click legally within StarCraft using that. We need to make those hotkey settings disabled, dude, because there's no way that that should be allowed. That auto clicking via binding, like some of the guys are doing, is legit, dude. That is so not cool. It's unbelievable.
Let's take a step back. I don't think Smith is doing that. I think Smith is holding down one and keeping his. When you hold down one, it like repetitively keeps selecting one to center your unit on the screen, and so that counts as APM.
Yep.
But now, dude, even if you do that, you only get like one action per like half a second. So so Irvine brought this up, Squid brought this up, is that you could bind it to your right mouse key and you could just hold it down and it goes ungodly fast.
I do
Interesting.
think I've tried out the holding down the one like Lynn was saying. I think if you're doing it consistently, you actually go up to some like insane numbers like 2,000, 3,000 APM. Um, so if anything, the APMs might be a lot higher if they would do that. But
So
for someone who's a little newer, like what is the advantage of this auto clicking if this is going on?
Yeah,
so
it's a good
for
question.
if
Yeah, go ahead.
if you're able to click faster, um you can be more reactive. Like if you're just consistently clicking, you don't ever have to like really like react to someone and click to where they're going. Like if you're, for instance, if you're blitzing, like you just need to like move your mouse over instead of moving your mouse and clicking. So it gives you an advantage when you're blitzing, when you're covering. Um, you just similar to blitzing. If a receiver makes a cut, you only need to move your mouse, and you're able to follow. Um, you're able to follow quicker. And then same thing when you're going for like a jump ball. Your unit, assuming you don't spin out of control from clicking everywhere, you'll be able to react to the scourge after a tip quicker as well because you just have more clicks happening more frequently.
Gotcha. So it's kind of like the unit will just follow your mouse cursor. You don't actually have to like
Yes.
click or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think analogy, I'm sure you already understood MA, but think about like a car on autopilot where you just have to steer, whereas a normal driver needs to, use the pedals and just steer at the same time. So just a small little analogy there. Um, my
Yeah,
two,
for
my
sure.
my 2 cents on it is holding down one is one thing, where it's driving up your APM, but at what cost? Shaking your unit, shaking your camera
Yeah.
view, etc. So there's an adjustment there. So and remember, APM is just a number, right? And then number two, um, binding your keys is unfortunately tough to monitor slash keep eyes on, and that will open up a whole can of worms should we really set rules against it. I think that um, there you could see it as a slight advantage, but at the same time, is it really worth? I don't know, like in this game of Blitz, unless you're line hopping over the thing, like is it really making that much of an impact? Like I get that it's may not be natural and whatnot, but is it really affecting the game where it's constitutes as unfair or disruptive? And in my opinion, if it's not a line hop, then I don't think so. What's your take on that, guys?
So I just want to just really quick, just before we continue on with this topic, we should test out the holding down one and no clicking and just see what the APM is, because I think it'll get up to like 300 to 400 APM just by holding down one. So we should do that. Then secondly, I think that's what's happening with Smith. I don't think he's binded any other keys. So that's just my 2 cents. Now we can talk about what you just said, Wayne. I think I agree in general. You can't really police it. It would be extremely hard to police. You also got to keep in mind some people might be using like arrow keys like crazy and just like kind of like moving their screen around. So like it's just hard to figure out if you were to police it, how would you accurately police it? And then I don't know if I said secondly or whatever. Now we're on thirdly. Sometimes clicking a lot, having a lot of clicks happen, doesn't help because you're, especially if you're a wide receiver or QB, the units like go in circles a lot and they do like the circular motions as opposed to the straight line motions. So that's not always great either. So it's not always a benefit, but it can be in a lot of scenarios. So I think I'm with Wayne on this. It's just too hard to it's too hard to police unless it's like exceptionally egregious and we see like 1,000, 2,000 APM or something like that.
MA, Jeff, any last points you guys might want to make on this auto clicker issue?
No more. Yo, why don't we have kickoffs though, bro? We need to do kickoffs. So maybe not the front of the game, maybe not the other half, but after a score, there should be a kick for a kickoff, set up in a set formation on each side, running back in the back, QB and the wide receiver in the front to block. And that kick should go right to the back of the end zone. We should be able to take that out, block, get an opportunity to earn 5 yards, 10 yards, 20 yards, 30 yards. That way we got kicking stats.
Yeah, I think
that shit's fun.
I would agree. I think that would be a great concept if Money and you Ultraviolet continues to want to dedicate their time to this map. I think Money is having less time these days to work on the map, so it may take a while if we ever see it. But there's been some discussions earlier today about punts and stuff like that, and punt returns, and so they all fit into that same theme of what you're saying, Jeff. And Money, if you're listening, I think if you do consider this route, I think it will only show off your blocking mechanics a little bit more. And so I would be a fan of punt returns, kickoff returns, etc.
It'd be cool, but yeah, like Money and Ultraviolet, I think are stepping off the gas a little bit on these updates, and they said they're only going to do bug updates for now. But I mean, if they decide they want to work on the map in the future, or if we get a different map maker to help us out, they would definitely be welcome changes to the game. I think most people would like.
Yeah. And also shout out to Money. Thank you so much for like all of the changes you've made to the game and everything. And also for the big head mode and the chaos mode. Those are legit a lot of fun. And I think the big head mode especially, I feel like I think that's actually going to get some pub play time, or at least I hope it does. Maybe it could help turn around less fun games or blowouts or something like that. I don't know, but or if someone gets too big of a head, just switch to big head mode, something like that. But yeah, shout out to Money because yeah, it sounds like he's taking a semi-retirement from major updates and just doing bug fixes. But yeah,
Yeah,
very cool.
I think shout out to Money all year long. All the map updates he's made, Money and Ultra. You guys put in a lot of effort, and I think we all appreciate it. And I think we're all here today because of your efforts.
Absolutely. This game would not be as fun if it was the other way around. Money's getting 2 free tickets to a Raiders game coming up.
Damn.
So I got to purchase those, but that's a thank you from the community for him editing this map.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
And
Hell yeah.
And thank you, Jeff, for sponsoring those tickets on our behalf. Yes, Lem, you wanted to say something?
No, I was just gonna say thank you, Money. Thank you, Ultraviolet. The game is in a great spot right now, and it definitely would have been really stale if it was just 1.2 or whatever.
Yeah, I haven't had my chance to play Big Head or Chaos Mode. I've heard and I've seen the Big Head in action, but I personally haven't played it. So I'm looking forward to getting some pubs in with those game modes as well. All right, Ma, do you have any topics you would like to bring up to the table, or Lem?
Really quick,
Yeah.
just really quick. I think Jeff got he got away with not actually saying who he thinks is auto clicking. He said something about Smith, but it seems like he has other people that he thinks
You,
auto click. So,
his fellow Team D teammate. He's fighting CJ, and now he wants to fight you, Lem.
oh, he's talking about me. I thought he was talking about someone else in the server. Jeff,
Nope.
who do you think is auto clicking?
Okay, so I don't know, and I didn't really think about it. So this was brought up the other day when Squid kept on saying that you were line hopping, and there's a belief out there, Lem, not me. I don't believe it, that Lem's line hops are auto click binded key hops is what it is. I don't believe it,
Oh
bro.
no,
I don't think so.
no.
But not me. Hey, not me, bro. But there was a discussion. I'm just telling you, dude.
I don't think so. I think I really okay. I don't know, and I'm not like a tech genius or tech equipment guy or whatever you want to call those guys. I just think that Lem has a mouse that allows him to use his APM's natural skills to be faster than most.
This
I'm a natural 300 APMer guy, whatever, and I'm sure my numbers are probably similar to them, but I can't click through that wall no matter how hard I try. So
same here,
yeah.
but I'll tell you this, dude. Lem was a has always been a great blitzer. That's why I don't think he auto clicks. But there was discussion in the lobby, dude, about it. But I really think he's always been. I mean, he's fucking Team D blitzer, bro. He's always been the best blitzer.
I think Lem.
All right.
I think. Okay, sorry. Share your 2 cents here, Lem.
Oh no.
What's your defense against these allegations?
Oh,
So I mean, I just click good. I can change my mouse up and see if I can be able to do the same thing. Um, but I don't have like that fancy of a gaming mouse. But the way I blitz sometimes, and I don't do this every time, is sometimes if a QB is rolling on one side, I'm gonna click along the line of scrimmage, and I'm not crossing it. I'm getting bounced by it. I'm just staying close to it. That's all I'm doing a lot of the time. So if you time it right, because the way the wall works is it gives you a command to go backward straight or whatever. And if you could time it relative to how it pushes you back, you can always stay close to the line of scrimmage.
Here it is. The
So
secret to
You're the
the
sometimes
line
best
hop.
at that. I don't think you're auto clicking at all. You're the fucking best at that. I've played against you, dude, and I have no inclination that you are auto clicking at all.
hell yeah.
I never suspected either. But and also, although Squid may have brought this up to you, Jeff, or at least that's what I'm hearing, Squid was able to successfully line hop yesterday or the days before as well.
ooh.
So
The plot thickens.
so there it is. If another
Squid
person's able to do
downloaded auto
it,
clicker.
yeah, that's how Squid came up with this theory is that like, hey, I downloaded this, so therefore Lem is it has this as well.
Exactly.
Wait, did he really download an auto clicker?
No, he didn't. I'm just kidding.
Oh,
It's my quarterly Squid propaganda that he doesn't like to hear from me. Um,
oh, gotcha.
but anyways, no. All right, Ma. Any spicy topics you wish to bring up, or if not, then we can move on to our what if questions.
Yeah, I actually do have a topic I wanted to hear a little bit more about. And it's regarding cutbacks. So as a newer player
Ooh.
to this game, I come in and I'm learning all these, terms and everything. And one of the things that's always said, with anger is, about cutback plays.
hmm
And, and so I guess if I could kind of get a little bit of explanation as to like what's the background on these cutbacks, and like it seems that it doesn't seem like they're against any rules, and I don't know, I don't think they're against like actual football rules to do cutback routes. I don't think so. And it just seems like to me part of the game. And I think just part of like playing any game, as long as you're not cheating or going against what like the game rules are. You gotta just like do what it takes to win. And then if cutbacks are really strong, then that just becomes part of the meta, and you gotta just adapt from there. So I'm surprised that it seems like there's almost like this kind of gentleman's rule that people kind of follow, and then like you kind of get marks against you the more you use it, and yeah. So like, could you guys uh, kind of, what are your thoughts on that? What's going on with the cutback? Why can't we just have a cutback meta?
I think Lem is the best person to answer this just because he's such a elegant speaker.
Oh, I don't know about that, but so for cutbacks, especially in the older meta of the game, they were basically just like very OP. And if you would like, obviously, if you run a cutback every single play, you're gonna be able to figure it out and be able to cover it. But if when they were just like sprinkled in, it was just like it's like not even fun because you could just like always get it. Um, but I think now, I actually think cutbacks are maybe more allowable in today's meta, just because people are more reactive, and the latency issues aren't
Those
as
auto-clickers,
large as in the
they help.
past. Sorry.
The auto clickers help with that too, right?
Oh yeah,
Everyone's
for
auto
sure. I'm
clicking,
able to.
you can cover the
My auto
cutback.
clicker helps me follow the receivers.
Yeah.
No, but I think it's easier to cover them um, now that you can have less latency. Um, so it's basically just like one of those plays that's just like super OP and easy to abuse and doesn't really show any skill. Um, versus like coming up with sophisticated plays or simple plays with good roll patterns or crossing routes that are difficult on a defensive scheme, whether it's cover two or something else. It's just cutbacks are like a kind of like lazy way to um, game the system.
If
Unless
anyone's
anyone,
made cutbacks sexy in the new meta, it's Tony. What he does is he'll go up. If it's like a post dip, bro, he's gonna wait until he really sells you on that post, pass the wraith by three squares, and then he's gonna cut down to the wraith, and then the scourge is gonna do it. He's gonna cut down again, so he gets kind of double cutback. He usually cuts 3 squares after the wraith if it's not open, and no one calls him out on that shit.
So, okay, I would agree. Tony has his moments to cut back. I think in your playoff game against the Huevos Picantes, there was cutbacks happening on both
There
sides of
was
the
two
ball.
cutbacks by 3 squares.
And so my only defense on Tony's behalf, not that he needs it for me, is that Jeff, you moving the Wraith backwards and CJ or your receiver moving backwards is the equivalent of a cutback. So it's just another way of looking at your cutbacks.
Well, let's not deflect. Let's not deflect. The situation
I
with
don't
me moving a
disagree.
wraith is
I don't
is definitely a
disagree.
cutback,
Okay, I don't
and there's
disagree that
no
Tony.
argument
Yeah,
and there's no deflection. Tony does cutbacks very often.
I think I think there's a lot of players that's been put onto the spotlight for these type of routes. But to answer your question, I think it is a gentleman's rule. I think you ask any of the more experienced QBs if they were able to run cutbacks without this gentleman's rule, that it will only make the game easier for all of us to move down the field. And so therefore, since it's such a exploitive uh, tactic, that the gentleman's rule has been in place since forever ago, to not do that because of how easy it would be for the game. So that's why, as we see in today's game, where you see, as you're a guy that's learning, when people are doing these slight cutback routes, even though they're not designed to be they're being called though because it's going against that gentleman's rule.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, yeah. Well, I think some of the answers here just kind of uh, reaffirm my point. It's like wild to me that like I bring up cutbacks and then it's like people are calling each other out and like there's a lot of vitriol about it. You know, like that's exactly what I'm talking about. Because like I'm coming from just like a game theory standpoint, not like any politics. And yeah, so okay, so it sounds like there was a time in the game where yeah, if these were exploited harder, or if we were to bring these back more, it just makes for a worse product overall for the game. Um, but yeah, I mean, even then, I would still say like, uh, I mean, for what it's worth, I just always kind of like playing the game, however it is, no matter as long as you're not cheating. And I feel like if it was really such a game breaking kind of mechanic or play, um, then maybe that's something we could like try to fix in the game or actually build in some mechanic to like prevent it. Some like moving wall or something. I don't know, but yeah, it's surprising to me. And the gentleman's rule, you know, I don't know. Like, is the Super Bowl winner this Sunday? Is it going to be about who can uh, kind of flirt with the line crossing of that gentleman's rule? Like who can push it more and get the win with cutbacks? Like that. I don't know.
You never know, but I also want to keep, since we're full steam ahead on this, like a 90, when you throw a 90, where it becomes catchable is actually a cutback because it becomes
Right.
catchable like 3 yards before the mine. So by definition, a 90 is always a cutback. Just because your wraith is 90 degrees or you make the cut at 90 degrees doesn't mean that you're not cutting back to the ball to catch it. So like a 90 by definition is a cutback, a slant 90 or a post dip, like those are all effectively variations of cutbacks and they're just like slightly less cutbacks. So I'm not saying
Right.
that's like they're like, you know, okay or whatever. Like it's just by definition they are cut back. Since we're continuing on with spicy takes, Wayne was not deflecting Jeff. He was just saying we can talk about other players that also do this. Every time I call a slant 90, Sin goes like 15 yards downfield and then cuts back to it. Irv is just he doesn't even run 90s anymore. He just runs like 15-yard cutbacks. Um, not CJ. You moving the Wraith back like 40 yards is a cutback. When a play is broken, any receiver is going to be downfield and be like, "Oh, let me go to it now." And then like
you can
after
also
a 20-second play, someone's going to run back to it. That's a cutback. Like there's always going to be
a
some
hook.
variation of cutbacks that are happening. Sorry, go ahead, Wayne.
Oh, sorry to cut you off. I just wanted to add to what your list of cutbacks. A hook is also technically a cutback.
Oh, hook is a cutback. Yep.
Hell yeah.
And this new play that I've discovered from my potential season 3 quarterback, I'm not going to call them out or anything like that, but I heard recently that the play was called a negative screen play, and I think that was a cutback.
But it
Fucking
wasn't called like
burn.
that.
Negative slant, I think was another name for it.
Negative
Negative
screen.
slant, dude. The negative slant.
Yeah,
That sounds like a blue squid type of thing. I don't know who it was, but I feel like I
I'm
could hear
gonna
squid.
I'm gonna
That.
keep this
It's me. It
anonymous.
was me.
My
It was me.
soliloquy, it was me. It was telling me it was me.
There it is.
Yep.
My soliloquy is not done. Continue onward. Sometimes there's a couple other variations to like these cutbacks being deemed acceptable or not acceptable. Sometimes the QBs place the wraiths and like while it's still moving, and then they call hike. So the receiver actually doesn't know where it's going to be sometimes. So some QBs are good about setting their 90s always 10 yards. Sometimes they change it up to be 10, 15, 20 without calling it like a long 90. Um, so if they're used to it being long or whatever, and it's 10 yards, then they're going to turn that into a cutback. If they're setting up for a post 90 and the wraith is still moving, they don't know where it is. That might actually be like a mistake, and they run it as a cutback because they didn't know where the wraith was. So sometimes those scenarios, like the plays are just developing so quickly, and the wraith isn't set yet, that a cutback happens. So there's a lot of ways that cutbacks happen, and
I
it
got
hasn't been breaking the game.
I got one more point on this one. Smith calls this one play a flag route.
The four,
You run to the what is it called?
the four, baby.
4.
The four. That's what it is. The four. You run to the 10-yard line. You then do a post up like 5 yards. Then you do like a cut down to where the first down marker is, kind of like diagonal. And then you 90 in towards the flag. So Irvine said that if the last cut is flat, it ain't a cutback. Do we agree on that?
Wait, did Irv say that or did Smith say that? I think it's
Irv
Smith.
said that.
Okay.
No, Irv said that with that route, if the last cut is a 90 or a flat cut, then it's not a cutback. It's only a cutback if the last cut is a comeback to it.
I
That's a
plead
hard,
the fifth.
yeah, that's a hard one because improv plays you have to run back to the play no matter what, right? So like, if you're running an improv and the guy's always going to cover deep and you're moving the rave like you do, Jeff, moving it backwards, as long as the last row isn't cut back, I could understand Irv's point. I think it's all case by case scenario. You know what I mean? Like, um, but let's go in the 80 from an 80-20 rule. I agree with Irv there. Okay. All right. Yeah, that was a great question that you brought up, Emma. The legendary cutbacks is always a fun conversation we like to have.
Apparently, yes. Very much so.
So, guys, we are at 1 hour and 15 minutes, and I know that you guys are, have your own lives to get on with. So, how about we finish this episode off with some what if questions? Unless you guys have anything else you guys want to bring to the table.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Um, let's start off with you, Jeff, since I know you have so many questions. Let's give us a what if question, unless, or you could just throw us another spicy question.
Fuck yeah. What if Mouton played over Turkey that whole game with Irv?
I guess I'll answer it. And for effort of time, because I think I would rather listen to more questions than multiple people answering questions. I'll take this one on, guys, since I played in this game. I think that Sheep is great. Sheep is awesome, and I'm one of Sheep's biggest fans, and also Turkey's biggest fan. Um, I think Sheep would tell you that offensively he had the numbers, but defensively he was struggling to keep up with it. And not that sh this is anything against Sheep. I think he just wasn't having his explosive impact that he's had shown us earlier in the season, and maybe even leading up to the playoffs. We were still able to be in our offensive rhythm in the red zone, throwing down the middle, getting our 2-point conversions there, as we always do. Still don't know why we were able to get away with it. But yeah, I think Sheep would tell you that he wasn't having his best defensive play. And I would say that if Sheep was having a tremendous impact on the game, that I think Sheep would have played both halves for sure. I think Turkey would not have minded if they were up 21-14 at halftime or more. Turkey would probably have said that it's okay, Sheep, you stay in the game. Uh,
Salute.
do you disagree with that, Lem? Before we move on to maybe your questions?
No, I just wanted to say salute.
Okay. All right, Lem, hit us up.
So we had like the mother of what ifs. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before. I don't really know because I'm in Greece. Um, with you know, possible season 3 draft options. Um, so I think kind of want to ask, and I don't know if anyone has the sheet handy. What if the games or the teams for next season end up being like close to what they were for what we called out in that voice call that we had? So basically, if we had multiple uh, tiers of players where tier ones aren't allowed to play together, do
Hmm.
you do you guys think that that would really add to the parity of the league so that we don't have this, like, for instance, this league this season, this four of the same players as season one? So the question is, do you guys think having more uh, salary cap options and limiting who plays together is going to actually make the league more competitive?
So before they answer, and I'll defer this to both Jeff and MA to respond to this, I'm just gonna remind you guys what the teams are, okay? So Jeff's in this mock draft that happened a few days ago, you were captain, and you would have Finn and Ma on your team, okay? So funny enough, you guys are both on the same team in this
Fuck
mock
yeah.
draft, and with Finn,
There we
okay?
go.
So that's team one. Team two is Squid, Irv, Turk. Team 3 is Smith, Tony, Portis. Team 4 is Ocho, Wick, and Mutan. Team 5 is CJ, Dan, Intox. Team 6 is Prism, Krusty, Duxer. Team 7 is Wayne, Sin, and Lem. Okay? So knowing this now, Jeff, you start things off with how what do you think that team would have how well do you think that mock draft team would do next season?
I think it's great. I mean, not speaking on my team, but just speaking on the whole league, that would have a lot of parity. It would break apart some of the stronger people, but it would still keep Prism and Duxor together, which are incredible. I think, and I think Prism and Duxor is good for the league, man. I mean, they are fun to watch when they're together. Duxor's not this guy that's gonna dude, he's good. Don't get me wrong, he's good, but Prism, just like Duxer says, Prism makes it look easy for him. So I think that would be a really even year. I love it, dude. I said that we should just go with those teams and fuck it, don't even do a draft.
All right, cool. Before MA responds, what's your record, Jeff, in a 7 game season? Um,
7 game season with that team, 4-3.
all right.
This year I was 3-4 without a draft. I would say I'm 4-3 that season.
Don't forget, you also have Finn, so very likely it could very much happen. Um, all right, MA, what's your thoughts on that team? Would you like to play for this team? And how well do you guys think you guys would put together next season?
Uh, yeah. Real quick, just a general thought on the drafting format. I just wanted to say I think it's really interesting how this specific system kind of it it changes the way you could draft people because you might want to go for value picks or perhaps people, if there's someone who's overvalued, they might, go a lot lower in the draft. So, I mean, seeing like Prism take Krusty and you take Sen, especially in the first round, it's uh, it's definitely different strategies going around for the draft when you have it like this because you can argue that both of those players are very undervalued because the tiers might be based on previous season performance or playtime. Um, and for our team, honestly, seems pretty fun. I don't know like who my quarterback would be. I don't know if Finn plays anything besides quarterback. I guess he must since you were quarterback before Wayne. So it's Jeffster quarterback, and then yeah, Finn and me on the field. Um, I, I like that team, and Finn seems like a fun guy. I don't know how much we would get to practice, maybe. I don't know if that's like a hot
Uh,
topic, but
would
and
you
I
like?
think yeah, Finn being such a strong QB, uh, or having kind of all that experience with QB, I think that could only help Jeff because I think they could maybe like uh, think together and like work out plays and kind of have up Jeff's game. I think it would help a lot. So yeah,
Actually
4-3.
interesting because Finn and Jeff, I think, have kind of similar QB styles to some degree with the fast pace, not necessarily with the play calling, but they definitely have a similar pace, which is interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, and so Finn can play almost all positions, but his preference would be running back, and I think he's chosen to lock himself into running back next season. Um, And yeah, he was my running back last season. Um, the what was I going to say? Yeah, the interesting thing was about the value picks. I think that yeah, I think there's a lot of potential in Krusty. I think I disagree with CJ, you know, locking him into T4 for this mock draft because I think this, even though it doesn't show up on the league game, in the games since the league, he's been impressive, and I think 99% of us that have witnessed him play has been very much impressed with his progression so far. He may honestly be T3 or better by end of next season. So looking forward to seeing him continue to develop. And if he was to be part of that Prism and Ducks duel, it will only get more interesting. Now, Sin, for the record, guys, it was established last night that he will be my my student. I've taken him under my wing officially. He is my Rock Lee, and I am his guy sensei.
Oh
So
my,
so we've entered the Naruto training arc, and so
beautiful.
I can't wait to see his own media pieces. That's going to be coming out soon, and as well as other mentors and students that will follow this Naruto arc for us. But yeah, I'm excited to have my Rock Lee.
Well, congrats to both of you. That sounds like a real bond in the making.
All right, all right. So that was I think that was your question, right, Lem? So MA, you're
Yes.
up.
Uh, another question.
Hmm. What if
Yes.
questions?
Okay.
Preferably a what if, but it could be
Yeah,
anything.
exactly.
Gotcha. Um, okay. I actually have a list of questions. I prepared for this. I'm just trying to figure out the juiciest one.
Student of
Maybe
the
the most
game, student of the game, and student of the podcast.
fun. There you go. Um, okay. Let's see. I guess this one's kind of for you, Wayne.
Ooh,
Um, specifically for you. Just a little fun one. But if you did become the Super Bowl champions, um, where would you and your team take a vacation? Where would be the spot?
interesting question. So the team is Finn, Squid, and Talks myself. Where would we go? Man, that's a great question. So, to give you guys some context, Finn and I are on the West Coast, and Squid is out in Central, I think, and then Intox, I think, is Central to East Coast, I believe. So, I think that Finn and I are actually originally from East Coast. So, let's say we go back to Boston, where I think Finn is, and I think Intox, he's Todd Brady, so we got to go back to New England, right?
For sure.
And Squid, I think, wouldn't mind going out East Coast. So we're going somewhere on the East Coast, man. I'm just gonna say New England, Boston, and because that's where the greatest franchises live, apparently. So
That's
there we
right.
go.
Where the champions go. That's where they live.
There we go.
And you can find me. I'm like an hour and a half away.
Champions
There
only,
you
Lem. Champions only.
go.
Okay.
Uh,
All right. Good question. That I actually had to think about that one. That was actually tough. Um, All right, Jeff, since you love the spice, I'll skip my turn and I want to hear your questions.
Oh, I already did mine, but yeah, here's my next one. What if you didn't have Intox or Squid, but you actually had MA this season, dude? I think you would have had a lot of good. I mean, that's my question, but I think you guys would have had a lot of good chemistry.
God, I guess has to be me answering this one again.
No.
Uh, I would say that I think we've proven that we could work with a rookie or a relatively new guy. I think that Squid does set himself apart because he's been playing longer than both of them probably combined and maybe doubled. And I think Squid has shown that he has a very competitive spirit and also willing, not only like just similar to MA, like hoping to learn the game, but he's learning at QB level, which is obviously we know is different than the receiver role. So Squid is obviously
Yes,
so
yes, he's good too.
exactly. So Squid beat me last night. I'm not afraid to say it. He beat me last night in a fair match. I had Lem and Sin. my mock season 3 team. I wanted to see how it looked like, and we played against Squid, Wick, and Smith, and they beat us in a very close game, and it's impressive. So, anyways, Squid is a student of the game as well. He's competitive, and don't let his spy whore, quote unquote, fool you. He's a blitzer. I know this since the first time I played him in that Gen 1 tourney that Dan hosted for us. And I knew right away that he was a blitzer, but he's only evolved since then. So, anyways, to answer the question, if we had MA, we would still likely have a winning season. I think MA would also continue to show his growth, get more of the spotlight, and I think he would. I could be wrong, but I think he will learn more coverages from playing with us as well because we're a multi-dimensional defensive team.
Interesting. Sounds like it would have been fun.
All right, Lem, back to you.
This is going to be towards MA, and it's going to be asking, personal question on from his perspective. So, this is a safe zone. You can feel free to share whatever you'd like. I'd like to ask you, though, what was the most difficult part of the season with the eggs, and what was the time that you felt most stressed?
Interesting. Okay. So the most difficult. So
And you can call out me, you can call out Tony, you can call out whoever. We're trying to be spicy here.
yeah. Yeah. I'm thinking really quick. Um, okay. So I guess I would say you said difficult and stress. So I'm actually going to split those into like two different things of like difficult as in like what was the most technically difficult, um, and what was like the most stressful moment. Um, yeah, I feel like the first game I played in a league match was definitely the most. I would say that was the most difficult because I was still like very very new and I was like only practicing blitz and wide receiver, and then I was kind of like UQB'd that first game, and then I was put on running back, um, and I didn't know anything about running back, so that was kind of just being like thrown into the fire a little bit. So I would just say that was like that was pretty difficult. But I think um, I think you're also for the stress part or something. You're kind of going for more of like a team chemistry or gelling or something like that type of question.
Like if we were having like a bad game and like if we're like yelling at each other, like what was the time that like you
Um,
really stuck with you was like pretty bad.
okay, honestly, I wouldn't say. Um, I'll preface it with this. I'm a big Dota player. I've played a lot of Dota, like a lot of Dota. And for those not familiar with Dota, it's a very toxic environment and a very like high stress environment. Um, so people get really mad and angry, and when like to be good at Dota, you almost have to be like a team therapist or something. Um, maybe like Duxer is to like his teammates and something. You got to like keep everyone cool. Um, and I honestly, so compared to that, like I guess in my past experiences and playing on teams and stuff, I would this one none of it was that bad. I do think like sometimes we'd be in losing situations, and you can just kind of hear the air. You can kind of feel the air go out of the room a little bit, because like usually in like when you start to go down, people kind of get more quiet.
Yeah.
They kind of get a little more shaky, and there was definitely those moments. And then, yeah, it was kind of tough for me because I kind of like to be, a positive person, and I try to like, uh, try to help rally. But especially as kind of being the weakest player on the team, it's kind of hard to be, like the newbie, and then kind of like speak up in those moments and stuff. Because I can't really say like, oh, let's do this strategy now, or let's switch up this, Um, but I think honestly, like it would get kind of stressful at times, and then like we would bounce back. Like yeah, like with you and Tony, it would kind of get a little stressful, a little quiet, And I do feel like, but like not that bad. It's just, like, damn, what do we do? Right. And then, but then, there's, I think throughout the season that actually got way more chill. Like, I feel like after we had that a couple times, then like it got a lot better. And we were like, pushing through that more consistently, even in like if the game was a loss. Um, and there was times where like you guys do make call outs, like we got to do this differently, or like Tony was saying, like start doing this, guys, and it would make the difference. But I think those are like kind of the toughest parts about competing. I wouldn't say that's necessarily specific to the eggs, but yeah, those would get tough. And yeah, I mean, I just wanted to really perform well, but I kind of knew my limits uh, a little bit, and yeah, I don't know. You guys are honestly super accepting and forgiving, and you guys are always giving me advice in the middle of the game. So I just, yeah, it wasn't that bad. I'm not that stressed.
That's fair. All right. Yeah, I felt like there was a couple stressful moments, and I appreciate you not wanting to throw either of us under the bus, me and Tony. But
Boo.
rest assured, listeners, there were some moments
Boo.
that were pretty tough.
Of
Maybe we
course,
can
you got
talk about it
Tony on
on a
your team,
different.
bro. I mean, you got the egotist.
But you would always make like an interception. There was like multiple times where it's like things get a little quiet, and then Lynn gets an interception. I came to expect it. I was like, oh, this is the part of the game where Lynn gets an interception, and or even Tony sometimes, and we would like bounce back because we didn't quit playing. But
Well,
no,
guess what?
honestly,
You can't bounce back from 50 points. That's the
I
one.
mean, they had 50 plus points by the end of the game, but at the half it was only like 30. So, and
Yeah.
if they can score 30 in one half, they can do it in the second half.
I
But
mean,
no, why do you think? No, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Maybe there was more going on that I just wasn't aware of, but to me it was all pretty garden variety competitive environment.
that,
In a future podcast, I'll share some stressful moments that specific plays that happened, and we'll let the community relish in the angst that occurred on those plays.
inside
Gotcha.
inside the locker room
And
report,
Wayne,
bro.
one more thing. I lost Coach of the Year to Duxer by 1 vote. What if that vote was CJ changing his fucking vote?
There it is. But
Damn.
one would argue that that's a very valuable vote because he was on your team. So if your own team doesn't vote you for captain of the year, then do you really
That's true.
deserve it?
God damn, dude.
um,
Um,
I one real quick memory. There was a time I think we were against Finn's World, and it was a close game, and it was a 4th and 7,
yeah.
and I was guarding mid, and I mean, I do believe mid is somewhat OP, but that was definitely one of those moments where like I was being coached through it. I knew what was coming, and then I still just kind of didn't execute correctly, and that one definitely, that one hurt. And I even told Tony, I was like, because they were always calling me rookie of the year, and I was like, I don't even want it anymore. Rookies of the year. Uh, you gotta get the stop on 4th and 7 if you're rookie of the year. But
That's right, Ma.
things
Do
happen.
better. You
So
I
should have
will.
got it.
so
Coming for it. Yeah.
the meta, the point of that you saying that the middle is too OP or is OP, maybe that's the new meta should be putting your best defensive player as the blitzer in the red zone.
Ooh.
I've always long considered that to be the defense, but we actually haven't been doing that. But that's also because we have total trust in our blitzers, at least on our team. But I do think that for most teams, you gotta put your best defender as the blitzer, one that is capable of blitzing and capable of watching the middle. But it is tough. It's the hardest part to cover in the red zone for sure. Um, Anyways, great question. We are at 1 hour and 40, and I don't want to keep you guys much longer. So if Lem doesn't disagree, I'm going to ask one question to each of you guys, and then Emmy and Jeff, you guys can finish us off with your last questions. Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. So to all of you guys, usually I would ask, like who do you see as your rival, or uh, who is your who has your number, or who is your counter. But I don't want to do that today. So I'm going to ask each of you guys, who is a player that when you play them, you just get the best of them? Like one player, one specific player where anytime you play them, whether you're QB or any other position, that when you play them, you just have their number. And Jeff, because you're the king of all spice, I want to hear yours first.
I mean, it's Smith, bro. It's Smith. It's always been Smith. Team D has dominated Team O for years. And but forget the past. Even on the new meta in the pubs, dude, you saw him. He picked on CJ and Dan, but he knew better to throw it onto me. He threw to me like 3 or 4 times. He had 28 completions. 24 of them were on top. Nothing on me. It's always been Smith, and Smith knows it.
So while I can't speak on Smith's behalf, and I won't talk on Smith's behalf, and I would love for Smith to be on one of these episodes in the future, I will tell you, Jeff, there ain't no way you had our number, Team O number, because I've always been on part of Team Smith, and you no way you had my number. I could guarantee you that. Regardless, the past is the past, and that is the unexpected modern day rivalry that I did not expect. So looking forward to seeing you guys compete more against each other. Whoever, at the end of all this, whoever holds the most wins against another, then so be it. But you ain't have my number ever, Jeff. All right, Lem. Lem, who's that one
Um,
person that you always feel like you have the edge over no matter what?
I feel like when you are QB, actually, Wayne,
Hmm.
I feel like we haven't played this in forever. I don't know the last time I blitzed against you,
Hmm.
but I do feel like I typically have your number, at least in the pubs that we've played. I don't know how many league games we've played where I faced you at QB,
Hmm.
but I think I generally have a good time facing you and get the unexpected sacks on you, even though you typically get the ball off pretty quickly.
I agree. So while I was contentious with Jeff's point, and it wasn't even against me, it was against Smith, I would say that you are absolutely right. If I were to say who would be one of my counters, but more so on the wins and losses, not the impact or whatever, I would say that Lem, you are definitely one of the players, because whether you blitz me or go in coverage, you seem to help out your. If I, like, for example, there's one play I vividly remember last season where Turkey was deep, going down a hitch post or whatever it was, and you were guarding short against Finn, and suddenly you dropped back, and I was greedy, and there's no shot I was not going to throw it that deep, even though I saw you pedaling backwards, and I tried to hit it in in a tight pocket, and you were there, and you made incredible plays last season, and yeah, I would say that for the most part, you can blitz me, you can cover me, so I will give you that one, Len.
Oh yeah, let's play more pubs together if you ever decide to get off obs.
Nah, man, you're on my season three team. This is why I chose you, man.
Damn it.
All right, Emma, I know you're still relatively new to the game, but is there anybody that when you play in the times that you do, that you just seem to get the best of them?
Um, I, I guess I'm just gonna have to go with Sen. I feel like we came into the league together, and I feel like we've had like random kind of pseudo show matches, or basically, in a pub, Sin and I will be get put against each other, and someone will hype up the rookie matchup. Um, and if I recall correctly, I feel like um, my team won all of those. Um, and so yeah, I'm just gonna go with Sin. Sorry, Sin.
Are you Naruto? Are you
Am
the?
I Naruto?
Yeah, you
I'm
Naruto?
I'm not sure. I didn't watch Naruto.
Okay, okay, sorry, but yeah, that was the rival to the Rock guy. But anyways, uh,
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. You're
great,
the apprenticeship. There you go. Yeah.
great,
Yep. I'll take Naruto. That's a great. Uh, that's a good one for me.
great answer. And Sin, if you're listening, we got to do more push-ups, man. Um, all right. All right, Emma, hit us up with your last question of the day.
All right, last question of the day. Okay. I guess for each of you, just kind of curious, what would you consider like for Blitz as a game? Um, what would you consider to be the most fun part? Like what gets your dopamine flowing? And what would be like the least fun part? So that and this is kind of just like from the gameplay side, like what is fun and what is anti-fun
So you're talking,
as
so
part of the game.
so you're talking about our current StarCraft Blitz game, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, and sorry. So what is the most fun, and what is the most? What was the second part?
The most anti-fun. Like what is a mechanic that you would like remove or change from the game? Um, because like you don't feel like it's a fun or good part of the game.
Okay, I'll just quickly answer this because we each have to go. The most fun I have is that it's very strategical from a QB's perspective. I think Romo was the one that alluded that this is like a chess game. And by the way, Romo, I don't think this is cringe at all to think that. I think that there is a very mind game and chess component to playing QB, and that's the aspect of the game that I like the most. And a close second to that for fun is I'm an old school runner and juker, so I love to juke other people on the field because it's one
Nice,
against three. And now with the
nice.
blocking, it makes it more a 3-on-3. But aside from that, the juking component of the game, the most anti-fun of the game, I would say, would be the um, lately. This is a shout out to all the milkers in the game. Milking the clock in today's game is the most in a pub game. I can understand from a league perspective, I guess, and that's totally cool and fair within the rules. But in a pub game, like I'm not one of those guys that enjoy playing those pub games.
For sure. Then
So, unlike Wayne, I hate juking. I'm so bad at it. I can never get yak. Um, but for me, since I've been doing a bit more QB, I've been getting, when you get some good play design, you get like that dopamine rush. So I don't always come up with PPs, but I feel like, so many people focus in too much on getting like the perfect pass. If you have a good play design where the defenders are just confused, it's almost more satisfying to have someone so wide open that you could throw it like 3 seconds late and they have however much time to catch it and be open. I think it's super satisfying coming up with a cool play that gets people open. So that's probably my favorite thing right now. I always love blitzing, so that's always going to be like top tier, like blitzing the QB on defense. So I always love that.
right.
I think the least fun thing for me, because maybe I'm getting mossed a lot lately, is I feel like there's something that could be done to the game that change how spawns happen. I think uh like it getting too offset from like you being on the spawn point of the ball. Like I think it's just like it's not game breaking, but it's just like frustrating to me. Um, so I feel like I would enjoy the game more if the spawns were more consistent. And if that kind of couples with like sometimes you have a player on top of another player, and for some reason one of them gets the catch over the other one, even though it doesn't seem readily apparent why. So I
Yeah,
think like having like more consistent spawns that make sense would be more satisfying for the game.
Yeah,
for
for me,
sure.
dude, it's just the fun thing that gets the dopamine going. Just improv, hitting an icon, when it's open, setting the wraith and watch my players get open to it. That's always been fun for me. But one thing that I've been hating, dude, is just sneaking, dude. I don't like sneaking. I used to love sneaking, and in this new meta, bro, like in any pub you see me, I never sneak unless like the blitzer is covering. So dives work all the time versus me simply because I'm just not going to sneak. And I just I don't know, dude, how to hold total change of heart, on sneaking. But because of that, obviously it's tough. Like Prism always takes the sneak if he has it. I don't do that, dude. I'll dive right back into the fucking blitzer.
So there you have it.
For sure.
We have a modern day Jeff or a modern day Vic. He ain't gonna sneak no more. He's gonna beat you with his passing. And
It's Kirk Cousins.
there it is. And do you know rotate offense is season three's question.
For sure, bro. We got hitch rotate and we got post rotate, bro. Be ready.
Don't give away your playbook the way that CJ has, okay? Um, all right, Jeff. But let's finish this off with your final question of the day.
Do you honestly think, Wayne, do you honestly think that you're better than Prism?
Damn.
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 Just like that to finish this episode, like Jeff, can we end the podcast on this question? Like let's put it as a cliffhanger or something.
Oh man.
Like
Oh man. No, that's a
Cliffhanger,
dodge.
leave it.
He's dodging. No, that's a
Cliffhanger,
dodge.
cliffhanger.
tune into episode 5, everybody, and we'll find out. I'll start the next podcast with this the answer to this question. You know, because it may very
Oh
well.
man.
This is the Super Bowl question, isn't it? So
Oh.
I think that's what we do, Jeff. We table this for next episode.
Yep. Hell yeah.
Are you gonna change your answer based on the Super Bowl?
No, I will not change my answer based on the Super Bowl, but I will say that no better time to answer such a question until the next episode. Wow. Just
I
can't.
want to keep you accountable. Can you DM me your answer and I won't say anything just to make sure that doesn't change based on the Super Bowl results?
You have my word. I will not change my answer. I could say that
Okay,
much.
gotcha.
You have my word. I will never change my answer.
Okay, for sure. I believe you, actually.
But yeah, this was not scripted. That was a brilliant question, Jeff. I must say. To finish such a
I
great
mean,
episode.
I just can't believe I didn't win Coach of the Year and Commentator of the Year. This shit's bullshit. It's rigged. It's all personality based. I may not have the fucking popular vote, dude, but you know in your heart of hearts where it is.
There it is. So yeah, guys, thank you guys for well, I don't, Lem, I'm about to sign us off. So unless you have another great question you want to finish us off with, um, I'll go ahead
I
and
just want to say, it's been a pleasure, boys, getting bricked up with you.
there it is.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh yeah.
I enjoyed talking to you. This is our first time having two guests on the show. I hope you guys didn't mind sharing the airtime together. I think it was a great overall discussion. We covered a lot of different topics. And yeah, we're in for a Super Bowl this Sunday, guys. So looking forward to it. Hope you guys enjoy the game. And until the next episode, we'll have the answer for do I think I am better than Prism or not. All right. Thanks, guys. See you guys next time.
Thank you.
GG.
See you guys.
See ya.
GG.